Oh, we are back. We are back. This feels great. It's a wonderful time to be alive. As a Bears fan, it's great. Last night was the pinnacle. I saw a couple Packers people being like, "Oh, you guys are acting like you won the Super Bowl." Yeah, we did. You know what? Yeah, we did. That right there was a turning page. Caleb Williams is now 2-2 against the Packers, which is probably the best record since probably Jim McMahon, probably back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It was great game. I was like, of course, the Packers, they always, get lucky. Every time they play us, it's perfect. Jordan Love gets hurt and Malik Willis looks like Steve Young all of a sudden. And then, the Bears pulled it out. So we'll talk about that later. We have the college football playoffs, which I thought was a yawn fest in round one. A bunch of pillow fights, as I'd like to say. But Jerry, we have some baseball news for your beloved White Sox. Munetaka Murakami, is that how you say
They
his
call him
name?
like Mune or whatever. I think that's what he said in his video. Dude, this is in like a fever dream, like 24 hours for me personally. The Bears won against the Packers and beat the Packers in the most Bears way possible, which is the Packers lost like the Bears. Stupid mistakes. Romeo Dobbs, a guy that's killed us for years, screws up the onside kick on 4th and 1. Usually when the Packers just try to screw us, they fumble the ball. Like that's what we do. And instead we hit the long dagger. That's one. Then the White Sox are spending money. Like, what is going on here? This is, I guess because I'm working Christmas, this is the way we're getting back. I don't know, something like that. Maybe that's what this is. Yeah, this is fun. But of course, I take all my baseball news with the level of, oh my God, we're not going to have baseball in 2027 probably. So hopefully the White Sox are fun next year because I won't see them until 2028.
I mean, look, they spent some money and, they're baller now. Jonathan's getting in here. Go Sox, go.
God's team right here. That's all I'm rocking is God's team.
Yeah, it's true. Chicago is God's place. It's it's bumping, man. It feels great. All right, so I have our results from our picks this week. Everybody did really good, guys. We all went 3-1. It got Trevor back up to 500.
Let's go
on the season. Jerry's 54-48. I'm 66-48. So
I'm assuming you two picked Bama. I picked Miami.
We picked. Yes, it's exactly what happened.
Yeah, yes, because I figured the G5 ones were pretty given.
Pretty stone cold wash. We'll start there. Ole Miss beats Tulane again, 41-10. Not gonna lie, maybe watched a quarter of this, and then I put together a child's kitchen set for my cousin's kid. So that's what my plans were. This is, I don't know. It's like I coming into this, I'm like, oh, the little guy, whatever, they can't help it. But no, I'm over this. This is not basketball. It just cannot happen.
Don't blame the G5 for this. Let's not do this. Let's be adults in this room. The reason that you have 2 G5 games and it's a snooze fest and all this is because the ACC didn't make sense this year. This is the way this thing was written. Let's remember it's the 5 conference championships, highest ranked. That gets your automatic bids. Then you have to work from there. And the ACC is all filled with mid this year specifically. And this could happen with the Big 12 next year for all we know. But the ACC was mid in Miami. Miami screwed around with the mid in the middle of their season. Didn't make their conference championship, had to be bumped in, and now you have 2 G5 teams. I understand the frustration of these not being great first-round football games. I'm not going to sit here and argue that Tulane was really kicking butt. They moved the ball pretty well in this game, but it doesn't matter if you put up 10 points and Ole Miss puts up 41, and they move the ball even better than you, right? Not the point I'm going to argue here. But if we're going to start targeting the group of 5 for the fact that a power conference couldn't get their act together and is actually just not that good, then that's not James Madison's fault. That's not Tulane's fault. And there's a level of this where I find this frustrating is to, I think, really appreciate college football. You have to appreciate the G5 as well. I'm not saying that we have to act like James Madison was a guaranteed title contender or Tulane. I don't think anyone really with a pulse was like, yep, roll wave, baby. This is their time, right? But it's not Tulane's fault that Duke decided to be good in conference play and terrible out of conference play. It is not James Madison's fault that Virginia decided to be pretty good but not win a conference championship. It is not either of those two schools' fault that Miami decided to lose their 2 games in conference and put themselves out of the tiebreakers. So I understand the frustration and the lack of quality games. Sure. But it's not these schools' fault for that. And to then take that away from them because a power conference couldn't get their shit together is not cool. It doesn't make sense to me. Because we're trying to act like this was a participation trophy and that this college football playoff went out of their way to look for G5 teams. When there was teams here that were left out, teams that were in these that probably would have made better games, they're in the room, right? I know a lot of Notre Dame folks were like, hey, look at this. I have to watch Tulane Ole Miss or James Madison, Oregon, when I can watch Notre Dame, Oregon. Notre Dame's AD's in there. If you're Texas or you're Vanderbilt, Greg Sankey's in that room making these decisions, guys. So I feel like the anger is misplaced, if I think it's the best way to put it. So I get it, the games aren't great, but it's not because Tulane didn't care enough or because Tulane is just getting a participation trophy. They played a real season. They played real games that have real consequence. If we start taking those games away because we just want a little bit better football in January, that's stupid and pointless and goes against the whole idea of the sport. And we are then taking the whole – if these teams wanted to be in the FCS, they would. They would. But they're doing everything else right. They're playing every weekend. They have real fan bases, real folks, and we're going to get mad because they don't have Oregon's NIL budget or to Ole Miss's NIL budget. That's not cool. That's not fair. So I'm sorry the first round TV product wasn't great. That's not going to make me go, oh no, get rid of the G5 in the playoff. That's stupid. That's short-sighted. And that's people just worrying about wanting to watch a little bit better football, but not reward teams that are doing fantastic work and players and athletes and everything else in between who go out week in, week out and have done everything they're told to do. That's all I got.
Yeah, I get so me and Caleb talked about this a little bit on Wednesday, and it's kind of the idea that bowl games don't matter anymore. And I think Tulane and JMU deserve to be rewarded for the seasons that they put together. But I don't think that rewarding them is putting them up against a team that they already lost by 32 and an Oregon team. I think, and again, this is to get I think, in my opinion, the best product. I know that like money has a lot to do with this. And so what I'm saying will probably never take effect because money over everything. But like Jerry, so we looked it up on Wednesday. There are 36 out of playoff bowl games. And so I just think that if we were to limit those, Amy and Caleb also talked about removing playoff or bowl games from the playoff and being able to put some of those more prestigious bowl games back into those teams who didn't make the playoff. Because like to see, JMU be able to play like a Rose Bowl or something, whatever, would matter, but it doesn't matter anymore. And I think that really sucks because like the New Year's Six was awesome to watch. It always was growing up. And those were teams that were really good. They weren't good enough to be in the top 4. And then we got still to get to see them try to win something. We have teams like Notre Dame pulling out of the bowl conversation because it doesn't matter. Like that bowl, the Pop-Tart Bowl, it doesn't matter. There's no prestige around this because there's 36. There's 72 teams that are not in the playoff that get to play in a bowl game. Which, I mean, get as many games as possible, but at some point we have to decide that we are going to produce the best product ever. If you lose 4 games, 5 games, you don't get to have a postseason. That's just or what I don't know the exact record of teams in bowl games, but it's like and the same argument can be had for the playoff situation where it's like Notre Dame don't lose 2 games. I get it. But like there has to be prestige put it back around these bowl games so we can reward JMU and Tulane for this awesome season, but not have to watch. They're not. I would say that they're probably not the best 12, one of the best 12 teams in the country. Are they probably top 20? Yeah, I would say that's fair. But do I think that at any time through this whole thing that they could have realistically won a national championship? No, I don't think that. I think the playoffs should be filled with teams that really realistically can win a national championship. And how is that? How do we decide that? We have a committee that decides that. And I think that's the best way to do it. So that's my opinion on this whole thing. And I like what you said, Jerry. It's not Tulane's fault. It's not JMU's fault. They had an amazing season. They did everything they were supposed to do. But like you said, the money is different. People might want to go to these schools now, but it wasn't necessarily the hottest place to land, a year ago, 2 years ago, or whatever. So, yeah.
No, I mean, look, I think you guys both said it well. It's one of those tough things where, because I mean, we would have just gotten Tulane if the ACC would have been competent enough to say, you know what, Miami, you and Duke have the same records. We're going to throw out our 12th metric that we have for ties and all that. You're the better team. We're going to put you in. And then you would have got the other better team. I mean, look, I have no problem giving the little guy the shot. I don't. It just this year sucked because you had two of them. But last year, I mean, the average margin of victory for the winning teams in the first round was 18 points too. So those games are blowouts as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think what people are going to have more problems with moving forward are these home playoff games, the atmosphere that these teams get at home. And I know everybody wants that, and it's like, oh, it's so cool. But like Alabama struggled there for a second on the road, so I think some of these teams may want to go away from that potentially because the more we expand it, the more you want it. I think that's for the away teams, Jerry. I mean, everybody wants to host one, right?
But I think that's the problem. Is like,
you know what I mean.
If you're sitting, I feel like that's a really hard thing that teams are going to try to sell if you really think about it. Because if you're a team that's thinking about having playoff aspirations, if you're one of these higher tier SEC teams, let's say you're Tennessee. I think Tennessee's a good example, right? They're kind of fringe playoff team every year. Last year they make it their way. This year, not as much. Tennessee's not going to go, you know what? Let's put more neutral site games in the playoff because we don't want to go to Columbus again, right? When there's a shot that if you just win a game or two more, you're at Neyland. I get it. It's frustrating. I think the first round playoff games and moving the bowl games to a different aspect, it's hard to balance these two because the thing I do worry about, to Trevor's point, is like the Rose Bowl will always be cool. I don't think they're like the Sugar Bowl will always be cool. I mean, I have a Cotton Bowl t-shirt for when half the team of both Missouri and Ohio State opted out, but Missouri won 13-10, right? Like I bought that shirt. That's a cool thing. I'll remember that. So it's a real challenge to keep the meaning of those games and the history of those games going, while also now creating an actual playoff to try to determine a real national champion. The thing I just worry, like the thing that I think, one, if you went to like 2 rounds of home and away games, I think that'd be really cool. I think if you reseed the playoffs each round, kind of like the NFL, I think that would look a lot better too.
Yeah.
I think that's my one big gripe with this is that you can have a fantastic season and then just run into a bad situation. You can be the Oregon of last year, right? Where you're the number 1 seed and then you run into a number 8. And I think technically still Ohio State would have played them in that second round.
So,
but maybe that's something that we look at. I just worry about at every level when the attack becomes, oh, these games aren't that great in the immediate because of this, and that, is that you're just going to take away from more people to enjoy the sport.
Yeah.
What makes the sport best in my mind is the fact that you can have someone from Washington and Pullman, Pullman, Washington, trying to root to have the same outcome as somebody in Oxford, Mississippi, or Gainesville, Florida. Now, at all times, are both those teams good? Honestly, no. Obviously, right now, Washington State terrible, Florida struggling, right? But the fact that every season you can walk in, you have fans from all these different places that have real aspirations. The fact that James Madison lost their coach to Indiana, turned around, hired another great guy, had a great year in the Sun Belt, and now had a shot at it. And I get it. They weren't going to win. But it's like, why are we punishing them? Because Texas is mad that they lost to Ohio State, right? Or because Notre Dame's mad because they lost to Miami or Texas A&M, right? Because this is the thing. If they go to 16 next year, that's a thought, right? And we'll talk, that's something that we'll probably talk about in the offseason whenever that decision's made. What happens when we run to a 16-team playoff that 4 of those teams you're like, they haven't got a damn shot? Yeah. But it's not James Madison and Tulane. It's Virginia who loses to Duke but sneaks in, or pick whoever. This year was a deeper field. I think this year there's more parity and everything in mind to some degree, which is good for the sport long term. But like last year, we got to 12, and it was two SEC teams that lost their bowl game, and I get it, bowl games don't matter, blah blah blah, right? But like you had Alabama who lost to like a quarterbackless Michigan, and then South Carolina who got into like one of the weirdest dumb fights with Brett Bielema in Illinois, right?
Yeah.
And I get it, take the bowl games for what you will, but it's like those are your two teams that were like, oh my god, they're not in the playoff. That was the big problem and concern. It's just this year is a little deeper of a field. So I don't know. I understand people being annoyed that this wasn't the best football you could have watched on a Saturday. Not with the NFL. That's how I don't gripe. Put that over there on the side. But like, this was not any of those teams' fault, and we should not be penalizing the group of five because there's going to be years. Let's look at that Cincinnati team that actually made the 14 playoff, and while they lost, held Bama to like 30 points, basically did what every other team in that time against Bama did, which was lose respectfully, or the undefeated UCF team that gets left out. Boise last year was still good, right? They put up a fight with Ashton Genty when he was their whole offense, right? You're going to come across these teams here and there. I don't know how often, when, and what that happens. That's not a guarantee, and I think it's going to be harder with rev share and NIL and all this. Just kind of takes away from the fact that you've had some really good G5 teams that could make some noise in this like expanded playoff that you don't have. But it's not time to just necessarily go like, this is lesser football. That's what gets us to Super League. That's what kills the regionality. That's what kills the fun things that we complain about the sport not having. That's the same thing that kills Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, or Mizzou, Kansas for years. This is the same thing you're attacking, is knocking a team like Tulane out. Because you're like, oh, that's not good enough. It's not a good enough TV product. It's not going to get enough eyeballs. It wasn't fun to watch, so kill it, right? When those games mean something to a lot of people, it means a lot of stuff. And it was what made the sport very cool, which was, oh man, Missouri didn't do well this year. We went 8-4. We beat Kansas though. That was cool, right? But we don't have that as much anymore, and that's one of many examples across the country, and it will continue to go this way if we keep pushing our anger towards the fact you don't have great games every weekend. It doesn't always have to be perfect.
My fault.
You're good.
I think that's kind of the nature of like a playoff system too, though. It's like the first round is going to be ugly because usually it's going to be the teams that are better playing against the teams that are towards the bottom. And that's just the best way to seed off a playoff bracket specifically. So as we expand, like we said, 16 teams, I think it's going to get worse, which is just the nature of the playoff. And that's the skill gap between the top 4 teams in the country and then the rest of them. That's just kind of the nature of the beast, I think. So is there a possibility for upsets? Absolutely. Like Miami was talked about not even being in this. I don't think anyone didn't think Texas A&M was going to be in the playoff, and look what we got. So I just think that, yes. I mean, look at March Madness. No one's complaining about when Gonzaga beats whatever community college from Washington by 50 points, but everyone remembers the national championship game that was a 3-point. That's just you weed out the teams that, like we said, probably aren't going to win national championships, and then the best teams in the country continue. So sometimes there's blowouts, and I think that's just what happens in playoffs sometimes.
Well, what you guys both said is why the G5 has a spot in this playoff. Jerry's right to the point where it's like, you want to give everybody a chance. You don't want to make it the gap of like, you'll never be able to do it too much bigger. Yeah. And then to Trevor's point of, they want an upset. They would love an upset in the first round so bad. They want that March Madness upset feel.
Yeah.
It's just a lot harder to do it in football. It eventually is going to happen, though. It's going to happen. There's going to be a team that comes in, upsets the other team, because maybe there's going to be a G5 team where that coach doesn't leave to go to another school and you stay. You know what I mean? You never really know. It can happen, and it's going to happen. But that's what they want, is they want the gap to not seem as big and for everybody to have a chance to be like, hey, we don't want to overlook you guys. Because technically, there's FCS, FBSA, FBSB, kind of the way that it really is. So Tulane and James Madison were like, hey, you guys were the top of the FBSB bracket, so we're going to put you in. So, it's going to be interesting moving forward. They would love an upset so badly. I just don't it just also sucks when it's like the way it's covered was like a little like, oh, we'll put these games on TNT. Like, it's just the way it kind of goes sometimes in TV. But
Well, you know why that's the case, right?
well, that's the trade off that they had from inside the NBA.
That's one. And two, not the NFL wants to do these Saturday games. It's in ESPN's best interest to not look like they're fighting the NFL by putting college football playoff games on their network. Because again, this is a mostly ESPN, ABC driven system, right? So it really helps when those two games, especially the G5 or the 11-6, 12-5 game, end up on TNT the same night that Fox has their doubleheader Saturday. So part of this is also, as much as we love the NFL, and right now, me and Caleb are celebrating Bears wins. Same with Trevor with the Eagles, right? There is a level of being screwed here that's on the back end of the big boy saying we want our ratings no matter what. So then, boom, we push these games on TNT, which then I think this year specifically with the dual G5 felt like an extra slap in the face of like, these games don't even matter as much as I can put them on ESPN. Well, don't blame me. I like blaming ESPN. They've caused tons of problems to the sport. But this one was, I think, more of Roger Goodell going, we'll just outrate him for fun. Which he does. We have games on Christmas now.
No, I mean it doesn't matter. They know if the NFL puts a game on, they're gonna lead it where it goes. All right, so Johnson says 18, 4 major conference champs, 4 large. That'll never happen. We're gonna go to 16. That's pretty much where we're at. Moving on to the Oregon game, it was 51-34. I would say the first half it was like, oh, here we go again, and then James Madison really started a little bit. Creepy Photo says the Oregon one was okay, I guess. Were they playing stars or just coasting in the second half? I don't know. I mean, Dante Moore, what did he throw? Like 2 picks or something like that?
Yeah, that second half was a little bit. And now, again, as 2 Bears fans here, that's when our attention was starting to shift to the NFL game. But this is one of those things where you just got to appreciate a team for fighting. I know that's not like, again, I vouch here and I'm like, don't blame the G5, this and that. Out of the 2 teams, they were the more outmatched, just in general. I think the funniest stat I saw was it was James Madison, I think, has 2 guys on their offensive line that were 300 pounds. Oregon has 7 defensemen over 300 pounds. Like, there's a weight class battle here that's going on. And it was apparent. Oregon had this game the whole time. But there is something here that I look at where maybe it is just, second team going up against first guys that are motivated, trying to do something. Dante Moore didn't look fantastic. Like, real question that we won't get answered until Oregon's next game is, how much of the playbook were you saving? I get it, it's late in the season. James Madison was throwing out all the trick plays, like there's flea flickers and all this stuff. Like, one of their big gains at the end, I think the first half was like a crazy 40-yard flea flicker play and stuff like that. So they pulled out all the stops. You might as well. Kudos to James Madison, though, on a different note. I think that's a better way to take this than to talk about this game itself. They're going to be now in their 3rd head coach. You won the Sun Belt. 2 of your coaches now been poached, which is sad. Billy Napier comes in the spot, which I'm very curious about. But this has been a really well-run and well-oiled machine coming up from FCS to FBS, which at one time felt like an impossible thing to do, not just to come up, but to be successful right after that come up. James Madison's kind of been one of the first schools where they've very quickly accelerated to being very good in the conference they're in the FBS level. I'm keeping my eye on Missouri State and Kennesaw State with that in mind, because they also had pretty solid seasons. Kennesaw State in year 2, Missouri State in year 1. But in terms of this game, I'm just curious if Oregon was kind of relaxing on the playbook a little bit to not give away too much. And I appreciate Dan Lanning not curb stopping James Madison to try to prove a point. I thought that was a real possibility here.
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot to say. I think you guys covered it both pretty well. JMU put up a good fight, but again, like Jerry's brought up, there's a bit of a gap with just personnel and other things. So I think we covered a lot of this right here then before we talked about this. So yeah, you guys summed it up really well.
Before we move on to the next 2 games, the more intriguing games that people had, who do you guys think? Like, I would honestly think it'd be kind of cool, to Trevor's point. I think maybe after this, if like you get like the 2 non-powers, like say more than 1 non-power make it into the playoff, like they end up playing for like a winner of like, make it like the NIT.
Yeah.
You're going to piss off one powers conference every year. I think that's the problem. It's, again, the system wasn't really built for 2 G5s to be made. Like the way they had to write this so they didn't get sued out there, you know what,
Yeah.
was the 5 highest rated conference champions. They couldn't put the ACC, this, that, right? Just that's legalese. I get it. Because there's no, like that division is very minimal and they can't do too much with it in terms of legal contract wise. So that's why this existed. But like, could you imagine if it, let's say Duke's in this year and it's Duke and Tulane, and then your return game is, guess what, Duke, you weren't good enough. You played the G5 team that you tell everyone that you're way better than. So that's going to be a slap in the face to the school, and they're going to do Notre Dame and opt out.
I think it'd be awesome. Or just have a non-power playoff. And
all right,
I'm just saying, I'm trying to put the best football on the field, Jerry. I'm just trying to do that. Because I think it'd be cool if now James Madison and Tulane played each other.
I get the idea to some degree, but again, we're just slowly trying to marginalize this so we can put Notre Dame in the playoff. And
that's
even
not at all what it is, Jerry.
Well, pick whatever power school you want in this situation. This year it's Notre Dame. Last year was Alabama. Like that's what that's slowly turning into, is just like, if we like, oh my God, it'd be so cool to do a G5 playoff.
It'd be awesome.
And it's like, all right, there you go. Now we just got rid of G5 from the playoffs so we can put whatever team in there because we want a little bit better of a first round game when one of the games had 1 touchdown.
That is very true. And we will move on to that game. I considered these next 2 games, we'll talk about pillow fights, but that's just me personally. But yeah, so Miami stuns A&M, winning 10-3. A&M was driving there at the end, and then interception. Lost them that game there. But the wind, I think, was the biggest factor in this. I didn't know it could get that windy down there in the old state of Texas. And they probably have, I would say, probably 100 American flags. And every single one of them flags was whipping.
Miami's the most curious team for me in this playoff. My hot take is I had this before. This is why I missed the midweek, and thank God, shout out to my job for making me miss that. But Miami has all the things there if they really wanted to put together a real playoff run and even win this damn thing. And you're going to go, Jerry, did you just watch that 60 minutes of vile, disgusting football where Carson Beck couldn't find a receiver for his life and the only touchdown was getting it to their receiver in like a jet sweep? Yes, I did. But their lines are fantastic, both offensive and defensive line, right? And that can win you games. And I mean, that's what won Miami this game, was the fact that even though their offense was not great, their run offense, especially up the middle, very good, right? And then one thing that I got to give a lot of credit to the offense coordinator here, I forget his name, it's Shane Dawson off the top of my head, is they set up this fourth quarter drive with a lot of inside run, and it's gaping, it's working, because Texas A&M is trying to cover the outsides really well. So they just keep running up the middle. It works. Sometimes football is a simple game. A&M's like, all right, we're in the red zone. Let's rush up the middle. That's when you throw your jet sweep out to the outside. That's good gamesmanship. That's fun ball. That is chess pieces moving there. Because for most of this game, it was an annoying standstill where the two offenses could not figure it out. But on the other end, for A&M, what a collapse. And this is what I think is so interesting about this year, is that if you presented this to an A&M fan, that year 2 or your early time under Mike Elko, he will get you to the college football playoff. He will get you a home game. You only have one loss coming into it, but it is your rival that you are better than, and your rival does not make the playoff with that in mind, right? In Texas. And that is a big, big rivalry, obviously. Your rival's not in the playoff. You are. You get to host a home playoff game, but you lose it in year 2 under Mike Elko after the Jimbo Fisher experience. They would give it to you in a heartbeat. They go, absolutely. We've been now 6-6, 6-7, and all this stuff, right? But they've been very, they had all these problems. Everyone's talking about the battered Aggie syndrome. They have one of the best comebacks in recent SEC history outside of the comeback in terms of beating South Carolina, right? Everything feels right, but then the battered Aggie syndrome just shows up when you least expect it. Texas is a good football team. I think that no one's really arguing that, right? They come in to Aggie land, stomp. And then you turn around, you have 3+ weeks. This is a Miami team where the vibes aren't great, but you know what? They started winning. They started winning when they needed to. And they come in there and they make your offense, which has been pretty good this year. Casey Concepcion's a good wide receiver. Le'Veon Moss came back in this game, was hurt again. Marcel Reed, I even said it on the show, possible Heisman talk. I know it didn't plan out, but right, had his moments, and you come out, you don't even score a touchdown. It is just the most Texas A&M collapse since a lot of the oil markets happen every couple of years, and I'm very curious what this looks like. I think this was still a good year, but you ask a lot of A&M fans, this hurts the same way, and I think, and the way it happened too, is I think what really kills. And we look back at it, they only beat one team outside of with 8+ wins. That was Missouri in their schedule. It was A&M and Missouri, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And everything else in between was not as tough. But maybe that's a scheduling conversation. Oh wait, are these conferences getting so big that teams can have light schedules?
Jerry, you talked about me pissing off at Power School. Yeah.
Sorry about that. No, man. What? That is now when we look at revisionist history. I think that is a theme of a lot of these teams, not just A&M. We will look at other folks in this situation that a lot of their big games got spaced out, and that's sometimes luck. You play the teams that are on your schedule, but now you look back at it now, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, big for Miami. I don't feel confident about them, but you figure it out just a little bit. I don't think they're going to be as easy as a lot of people think for Ohio State.
No, I don't think either. I think that it could very easily be like Tom Brady against those Giants teams.
Same type of vibes. It's just the other thing I think about is just like Ohio State had their real moment to show that they were the Ohio State that they are. Now the question is, does Ryan Day need like that one loss? Mike Krzyzewski is always famous for saying like it was good we would lose early in the season because every once in a while to remind them that you still got to play well every game, right? Like that loss that reminds people. Maybe Indiana did that in the Big Ten championship game. Like they let the emotion goes down, all this and that. And, oh, it's fine. We're going to win this Big Ten championship. Indiana comes in, plays just well enough to win that game. So does Gladiator Ohio State show back up? Absolute possibility. Or is that Ohio State team not as good as maybe first thought? And take that with a grain of salt. It's still Ohio State. I'm not acting like this is a mid 500 team, but is this the Death Star team that we think they are? That's my question, and one I'm very excited to see get answered in a couple of weeks is what does this Ohio State team look like? Because Miami can hang around. If you let them hang around, weird things can happen. Ask the Aggies.
Yeah, and I think too, it's like Miami showed. Well, we talked about this at the beginning of the season that they now have this physicality that could rival Notre Dame physicality, which is usually like the thing that Notre Dame hangs its hat on. And I think they showed it again this game too, specifically with a low scoring game. Defenses were showing out, and you win the battle in the trenches. So I think this shows that they have the physicality to keep up with some of these teams. We don't always think of Ohio State for its physicality, but obviously they're going to have great physicality when they're one of the, top 2 teams in the nation. I think of their, speed, big playability, things like that. But they have physicality. And the Big Ten, that's important to have. So I think that Miami is showing that they can be annoying for Ohio State because they also have a level of physicality that can really slow down Ohio State if they let it. I think Ohio State is the much better team. I trust Julian Sand more than I do Carson Beck. There's a lot of things about Ohio State. The receivers are probably all going to be first-round draft picks at some point. I think Ohio State has this win, but that level of physicality is something that cannot be overlooked. And if you fall asleep to Indiana, you can also fall asleep to a team like Miami. So I'm interested to see how this goes. I'm excited for the second round. I think we'll see a lot better games.
Yeah, the funny thing with Miami looking ahead to Miami Ohio State is they're both built differently. Mario Cristobal is literally like, we build the trenches, we build it. That's what he said after the game. It's like, we build the line play, we do this. Ohio State's more like, hey, we're going to be kind of finesse, faster than you. It's going to be a little different. So that is going to be fun to see that clash. But I also think for Miami, it was one of those. It was like, hey, look, some people didn't think we should be in it. We're in it. We beat the team that some people said the other team should have been in, that being, A&M beat Notre Dame. They wanted to prove like, hey, we beat you two. We beat both of you. We're one of the better teams in the country. And as long as Carson Beck doesn't screw it up, Miami can win the whole thing, to Jerry's point. It's just, does he screw it up? So that will be interesting to see moving forward. Jonathan says, all about the U. They probably have the best fan in the world. Maybe Michael Irving. That guy he like looked like he's going to have a heart attack when they scored. And then he's like on the ground acting like he's a dog. Like, I know we talked about Dan Lanning being on some things. Michael Irving's definitely still on some stuff.
Dude, I told Caleb before the podcast that I was watching. I didn't catch as much of the Alabama Oklahoma as I'd like because I was kind of multitasking, watching the Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua card, and they talked to Michael Irvin. He was there, with Burt Kreischer.
Yeah, of course he was.
And then Brandon Marshall, and that was just like,
oh, that was the thing with Kay Adams. Yeah, I did see that.
I don't. Yeah, I didn't know who the girl that was. But like, dude, that was like, I was like, is Michael Irvin like on drugs right now?
No, I think one, that's just kind of how he is, because he was on the Dan Patrick Show this week, and he was talking about, like, he's like, yeah, Troy Aikman like dated Shania Twain and all this and that, and they looked it up and they're like, this is not true. I think he was talking about some other white woman, and it was just so funny how he is nuts, man.
Well, as long as it's good for his health, if he's taking drugs, keep going. I like it.
I'm gonna tell you, man, it don't snow often in College Station, but that Saturday it was snowing, baby. Why do you think Johnny Manziel wasn't there? That's also funny. That's a side plot to all this game, is that Johnny Manziel didn't show up to game day, so that Alex Caruso.
Yeah, I didn't even know he went to Texas A&M.
Very peak Alex Caruso, by the way, to just come off the bench and be very good. That's that's just fitting your role.
Yeah.
That shout out to him for that one. And I love that the fact that one of the subplot headlines of all this is Johnny Manziel not being either there or not at game day for one of the biggest A&M games this year. This is also the same guy, yes, who won a Heisman for A&M, that was campaigning while Vanderbilt played A&M for Diego Pavia. A very weird relationship there.
He was also in the club, I think, last week throwing up the U in Miami.
It's just a very weird, very, very weird relationship. I wish we'd get a real Johnny Manziel doc, but nowadays documentaries are just Johnny Manziel being like, I'm going to tell all. And it tells like one story that gets clipped for social media, and it's 2 hours into this, 5-episode documentary that tells you nothing. But if they did one of them like real 30 for 30s, Johnny Manziel is a great case. Like, he'd be such a fantastic case study. But don't worry, everything will be copied by his legal team. And then ESPN will do like the Lane Kiffin doc with Johnny Manziel 2.0 when Johnny Manziel wants to become a coordinator. You're welcome.
Hey, A&M needs a coordinator. Colin Klein's going to Kansas State, so you never know. Which could also be a blessing in disguise for A&M moving forward. All right, moving on to the game that kicked it off. This game was, I will say, I thought it was over when it was 17-0. But Alabama, they came back. They fought back to win 34-24. This picture right here, maybe one of the more bizarre plays that was never reviewed, I think, in the history of football. I think it was a catch, but the fact that it was never reviewed, to me, was kind of crazy.
I don't even care about the catch. Like, that catch, review, not review, is a perfect encapsulation of this game, because Alabama all game decided not to do the easy things well, but did the hard things fantastic, right? It is Joey Bernard going up, mossing this receiver, while Ryan Williams is just dropping catches in the same game. And that's what I found fascinating about this. When I thought about this game and I picked Oklahoma, and for this, I had a thought process that Alabama honestly had more ways to win, more paths to win. We've talked about this in the past. How can you get to the win is kind of how we've determined games here and there, right? And I thought Bama had more paths to win, but I thought Oklahoma's path was clearer and honestly more obvious. And in the first half of this game, before all the miscues, it was right there, which is Oklahoma goes on a long drive here or there, scores a touchdown, shuts Bama down, which they could do. Bama's offense, especially the run offense, not good, and they're not good at stopping the run either. There's I think in the early first quarter when it gets about 14-0, Oklahoma's possessing the ball for 11 minutes in comparison to Alabama's 3. I'm like, this is the path for Oklahoma to win this game. And then then you screw up the punt. Then you have you throw the bad pick. And I'll tell you this, I'm not going to act like there's some folks on the internet, and I think this is a joke nowadays. It's like, we need to investigate this. Now, John Mateer just didn't see the coverage there. And that was just one of those picks that every once in a while just happens. But just like that, it was the team I thought was going to make less mistakes, Oklahoma, that made the big boy mistakes. And then when it becomes a battle, if it's a tie game, I trust Bama more. You give Oklahoma any lead, I thought, okay, Oklahoma's got this because their defense is still very good. The other thing I didn't expect was their special teams not to be good. They have the Lou Groza award-winning kicker who missed 2 kicks.
He was terrible.
Shout out to the Tokyo Toe. He should have won anyways. But, just pure nickname alone. Shout out Hawaii. Shout out to the Warriors. But, like, that was one of those things where when I looked at this game, I go, the special teams for Oklahoma are more solid. The defense is really good. And if they just figured out enough offensively, they have it. And they had it in that moment, then all the miscues happened. And Bama still didn't play fantastic. They just took advantage of big boy mistakes, and here you are. So I'm very, for Oklahoma, I'm very curious what this looks like long term. This was a year that a lot went into. This, again, elite defense. Our Mason Thomas is definitely going to the draft. He should be going to the draft. I think some pieces will go there. You have questions on the offense big time because early John Mateer was, oh, my God, this and that. He breaks that hand. They also didn't really play anybody outside of Michigan. So I wonder if that played to it. If their offense doesn't figure it out next year, I'm very curious what the vibes are because, again, a lot of investment was put into this year to get to this moment, and then you blow a 17-point lead at home. So that's, in a way, when I thought about this, and I was like, how am I going to talk about this in the podcast? I think Oklahoma fans felt what so many SEC fans felt playing against Oklahoma all year, which is like, we're so close, and they just beat us, and we probably didn't deserve to lose that game. And now Oklahoma's going, we had them, and we should have beat them, and we did not deserve to lose that game because you get a 17-point lead at home in your own place, you should win that game. And then they didn't. But I'm very curious, Bama, Indiana. I think Indiana might be a little bit more physical than Alabama, and that's going to freak a lot of people out.
Yeah. I think, too, it's like, I mean, this is super obvious, but, like, if you want to be competitive or win a national championship, these miscues have to be out of your system. I think that's what really hurt Oklahoma. I mean, even thinking back to Notre Dame's playoff run last year, pretty good playoff run, I would say almost perfectly until maybe one play in the national championship where Ohio State scores a huge touchdown, kind of like a blown coverage thing. That's the margin of error in the college football playoff is that like I said, Notre Dame played almost perfectly probably. And one play ruined their national championship hopes. That's the margin for error. So I mean, Oklahoma, like we said, missed field goals, botched punt, interception, like that stuff has to be out of your system. And I'm kind of glad they got punished for it. And Alabama was able to take those and turn them into scoring opportunities because we want to see teams playing as good ball as possible, right? So miscues got to be out of your system. Oklahoma was a team that could have very, very well won this if their offense picks it up. Their special teams defense, like Jerry said, were thought of as really good. So yeah, you can't have this many miscues and expect to walk out of a good Alabama team. So yeah.
Well, this game was the exact same like the first game when they played. It was just flipped for what team. Bama had all the turnovers and miscues in the first game. Oklahoma was able to take advantage. This time, Bama was able to take advantage. But yeah, I think to Jerry's point, it's like, what does Brent Venables in Oklahoma do now? Because it's like you're going to lose your quarterback. Your offense coordinator is probably going to come back, but he's not going to have the same chemistry that he had with a new quarterback, whoever you do get. So I think that's going to be the big thing because I think his first year they struggled, then they went 10-3, then they struggled last year, and now 10-3 this year. So you're kind of on a roller coaster thing. You have this like hard to kill mentality that you have written all over you, and it looked like it was pretty easy to kill you Friday night.
Really, when you shoot yourself in the foot 4 times, it's easy to bleed out. I think that was the thing, is that they were hard to kill to start this game, and they were taking bullets, no problem. And then they were like, let's see if I could do this without a left foot. Could I survive if I just chop it off? Or right foot for the kicker, for the punter, no pun intended, right? But like that was kind of the thing, is that this game started with Oklahoma being the Oklahoma that was there all year. Good defense, not making a lot of mistakes. Their offense was fine, and their offense was moving too. it was a little bit, it's an overused term, but there was a level of complementary football here. You're playing field position when you didn't have your offense working. Your defense kept things going, so you got better field position, and then you converted. It's sometimes football's a simple game. They played it very simply, and then decided to not. And that's also the fun of this sport too, is that in the NFL you don't have this happen that often because in the return the other team has to do insane things. No, Oklahoma just did dumb things. Like there was a level of chaos in this game that reminds us of why the sport can be fun, which is these are still 18 to 24-year-olds nowadays with the transfer portal / all these years of red shirts. But, like these are still younger guys that could just make a mistake, like a Mateer just throwing one right to the defense. Like that doesn't happen as much in higher tier NFL games, right? It still does here and there, but like you don't see it every week. No, you can still have that in a playoff game in college football because John Mateer is barely legal to drink. Maybe. I don't know his age.
I don't know.
That's part of the fun.
Oh, the other thing coming out of this game too is now the Kalen DeBoer to Michigan stuff. Where does that go moving forward? It felt like when they were down 17-0. It's like, oh, he's going to Ann Arbor. There's no doubt about it. So that'll be interesting to see kind of moving forward what happens with that. I don't expect much coming from that because I don't even think Michigan knows who they want to hire, if they're even going to hire somebody at this point right now. But so that's interesting where it's now like, okay, so does that guy now move off the list there? Jonathan said he's talking about the other person when it comes to a fan. I'm thinking maybe a webcam star, I think is how you describe those types of people. That was also in the stands. I think that's the best fan that he was talking about, not Michael Irving. So we will leave it at that. As Jerry's face. You don't know how to handle that, Jerry? What do you call those people for the news?
What is it? Adult entertainers, I think is
adult entertainer. Okay.
Yeah,
webcam star.
Adult entertainment. Yeah, I understand. Crazy that Jonathan found that one in the crowd. 100,000 plus people. Jonathan and Foster found a way to find that person in the crowd. Congratulations, friend.
Lady of the night.
God, hey, some people needed a reason to watch those playoff games in round one. Jerry, he found his. All right, this is what the bracket that we have of right now is. So we have in the Rose Bowl, Indiana versus Alabama. I think the line on this game, I use a 7-point favorite already. It was 6.5. Now it's 7. Oregon and Texas Tech are in the Orange Bowl. Oregon is a 1.5-point favorite. Kind of shocking to me. Ole Miss and Georgia, which is a rematch of when they played earlier in the season in the Sugar Bowl. Georgia is also a touchdown favorite. And then Miami, Ohio State. When I think this line is pretty crazy to me, and I may hammer Miami on this one. Ohio State's a 10-point favorite.
I understand with the offensive performance of Miami, how that went. That's probably what Vegas is baking in here, is that Ohio State's defense is still, I think, you can argue the best in the country, right? Matt Patricia, of course, fun name just to throw around when you can. Matt Patricia's defense has been fantastic. You give him some of the best players in college football, and you give a guy who's been in the NFL just a chance to basically do whatever he wants against not light competition in most places. Good things can happen. I'm not that smart. Even I can figure that one out, right? So I see that probably baking in here. I am sad about the Rose Bowl matchup for this whole, and this is going to happen regardless. We won't have a good color split because obviously, as everyone knows, they split the field, they split the stands. So you get the great flyover shot every year. There's gonna be a lot of red. Maybe that's a different sign. Maybe it's a political statement. Who knows?
Crimson in red or white, Jerry.
Sure. Pick whatever school is going to claim that one even more. That's a fun one to think of. Which school is going to complain more about it being called red, not crimson?
Alabama.
Definitely Alabama.
Who knows? Those Hoosiers are territorial.
Crimson and cream, I think, is what they say that their colors are.
Yeah, who knows? Whatever. But yeah, we won't have a good color split. Like if we had Texas Tech, Oregon in the Rose Bowl per se, that'd be a better color split. The one game I'm eyeing a lot is that Ole Miss Georgia game, because I think if you want to cause some real, long-term college football playoff, not just playoff implications, but sport implications, it's Pete Golding of all people going on a run. Pete Golding's probably one of the least liked Alabama Saban assistants. Do not look up his mugshot unless you really want to. It doesn't look good. It looks great. But
was looking it up as we speak.
Yeah.
Or the video with him with the cheerleader when they
that too.
Is that child friendly website I find that on? Or
Yeah, no, it's like just look 'em up.
okay.
After
Sounds
that,
like
look
he's
up
like
Brett
a pizza
Bielema.
guy.
Look up Brett Bielema partying too. You might as well just do all the videos. As long as you don't look up Jim McElwain. That gets really awkward really quick. That one's not safe for the computer, the work computer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Don't look up Ohio's coach either.
Oof. Wrong files. But like, I am very curious because I think if Pete Golding were to go on a run, it would dispel not just like, oh, Lane Kiffin's this god of a coach. I'm not really trying to take the Lane Kiffin angle specifically, but the idea that all these head football coaches are so valuable that if you just had a defensive coordinator who swears every other time he talks, and is an Ole Miss guy through and through, he went to Ole Miss and all this, like he has a lot of connections there. If he just turned around and decided, hey, let's just go win this thing, that would change a lot of people's perspective on the sport, and I think a lot of ads too. So that's a chaotic situation that could always pull off. Ole Miss has the talent to do it. It depends on if Gunnar Stockton keeps doing this thing where he's just good enough, and each week he's gotten just a little bit better to keep up with it. I don't like. There's a reason we talk about Gunnar Stockton as a Heisman candidate, and that's fine. They keep winning games. He keeps doing everything they need to not lose. So I'm really eyeing that one. And then Texas Tech Oregon's just fun. I think Texas Tech defense is legit enough to cause maybe enough problems to Dante Moore. And I think Dante Moore is good. I've always said Oregon's young, and they have a little bit of a weird part. Like they have weird vibes to them. But if you also wanted me to pick a team that could be this year's Ohio State, I would pick Oregon even more than Miami. So it's kind of like this weird back and forth I'm having in my mind about how I think about Oregon, especially because I think Texas Tech's defense can really wreck a team. And that I think Oregon's capable of being wrecked if possible, if things go a certain way.
I agree with you, Jerry. I'm really interested in the Texas Tech Oregon game. Obviously, Texas Tech's defense has been phenomenal all year long. But I want to see what they're really about. Oregon is a team that you cannot just overlook. And I want to see if obviously the defense is good, but Texas Tech has to be consistent on offense, and they have to stay away from things like Oklahoma do. You can't have these miscues. Oregon will beat you if you do that. I don't. I think Texas. I think it's probably maybe going to be like a low scoring game because two pretty good defenses. But Texas Tech has to be consistent on offense. They have to limiting turnovers, having good plays, big plays, or else. I mean, Oregon. I think Oregon has the capabilities to make this kind of ugly. But I don't see that happening. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think Texas Tech is gonna win. I think they just have the superior defense. But they have to do something on offense. Defense wins championships, but defense can't by itself just win you a championship. You have to have something accompanying it. It doesn't have to be amazing, big, huge plays, but it has to be consistency. Yeah, I think Texas Tech is going to win. I'm really excited for that game. I'm excited to see what Ole Miss is still like. It would be insane if this Ole Miss team beat Georgia without Lane Kiffin after losing to them with Lane Kiffin. And we talked about a little bit about how. Yeah, I see your face there, Jerry. I like that face. Yeah.
And Lane Kiffin gets paid regardless of what happens.
Yeah, that's true. Ohio State, Miami, we kind of talked about. That's really interesting. And Indiana, Alabama. I think Indiana has been fraud checked multiple times, and they have passed the fraud check multiple times. But this is another one. I think that this is like an interesting game. Alabama sometimes can look like one of the best teams in the country, and other times, or the best team in the country, and other times you go, why are we like? What is this Alabama team? Fire Kalen DeBoer. Pay out, win the lottery, and pay off his contract. But this is another opportunity where I'm like, there's a way that Alabama wins this game. And it's not to anything that Indiana has done. It's just there is no bedrock there, right? This is a very new idea in Indiana. So they don't have this idea of like, well, we've been here before. This is how we get it done. With those Nick Saban teams, it's like every year, every other year, they're in the playoffs or they're in the national championship. There are guys who have spent 4 years in the limelight. So I'm interested to see. I think Indiana will win that game, but another fraud check possibly on their so far perfect score.
Yeah, I think the other thing too it's gonna be interesting is all the teams last year with the bye lost the game. So
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah.
interesting. Georgia is the only team that had a bye last year and a bye this year. So they're kind of like, hey, we struggled last year against Notre Dame. We didn't look as sharp as we should have coming out of the bye. So how do they handle that? Ohio State's on the flip side. They were coming off of winning the first round. Now you have a bye this time. So it'll be interesting. Looking at the totals for the games, this is kind of interesting to me too. So there, as of right now, the over under for Miami, Ohio State's 40, 41 and a half. Oregon,
Oh.
Texas Tech is 52 and a half.
Hmm.
Alabama, Indiana is 48 and a half. And Ole Miss, Georgia is 56 and a half.
Oregon Texas Tech kind of surprises me.
Yeah, that was the one that does not make the most sense because I could also see Texas Tech's offense just stalling.
Yeah.
Well,
there's a world where that happens, even if their
Yeah.
defense is great, where it's just like 7-14, that feels like 28-7.
no, that is true too. The whole thing is kind of that whole game is kind of weird to me because I don't know, in my gut I feel like Texas Tech is better than Oregon, but I'm like, do I trust Texas Tech to make a play? You know what I mean? I think that will be the thing.
I don't fully trust them. I don't fully.
Well, I don't trust their offense. No.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, so looking ahead there, those are of course Miami Ohio State is the 31st, and then the other three games are the first. So that'll be seen moving forward. Creepy
I'm
photos
excited.
says
These are
come
gonna
on
be good
Hoosiers.
games.
So yeah, I mean it's going to be interesting. The lines are kind of like touchdowns other than the one game. So we'll see. It's just wild to look at Indiana, Alabama, and to see them a touchdown favorite against Alabama.
Well, again,
that is still massively.
I think the thing that's going to really hit for a lot of not to say fair weather or this, but like just average football fans that are tuning in here and there and stuff like that is how physical Indiana can be on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I think this is just crazy for me to say out loud, but I don't think it's wrong. Indiana's the more physical football team out of the two of them.
Yes.
And without a doubt, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's what I think is going to shock a lot of folks. And I think if you want, that's what's going to me be very curious is that Alabama in a way under Kalen DeBoer is trying to be, in my mind, more like Ohio State is right now, which is Ohio State does have some thumpers. I'm not going to act like their defense is weak, but offensively, they're not necessarily jamming it down your throat every play or 3 yards, cloud of dust. It's like, no, we're going to run the spread. We're going to spread things out. West Coast, get Jeremiah Smith the ball, all this stuff. Even though Jeremiah Smith's getting triple teamed, but that more spread out West Coast vibes of the team on offense. And that's kind of what Bama's looked like. Again, Indiana can run the ball, I think, better than Alabama. That's weird, but it's true. And also, they can stop the run better than Alabama. That's weird and true. And I do think in the long run of this, and the one thing the Hoosiers have not done this year, which I think can really make or break this whole playoffs, the playoffs for them, is they don't make a lot of mistakes. They're very well oiled. The biggest mistake I remember them making all year, really, Penn State game that had some moments, was the Mendoza pick against Oregon. And then they came back and scored, right? There is a world where if there's only one turnover, can Bama take advantage of that? And I don't we saw them do it against Oklahoma, but Oklahoma made a couple mistakes, right? And I don't know if you're going to get the same level of mistakes from Indiana that you got from Oklahoma. And if you don't, can you still be that good of a team? Can you dominate in certain stages? There's a world where that exists. I don't know where it is. Caleb's watching the NFL game, which is not a problem because we're watching to see if the Bears can make the playoffs in this moment. That is where his eyes have wandered and fluttered. Don't worry, mine have as well. But that is something I'm very, very curious about. Obviously, too, with a couple weeks going in, there's be more time for us to kind of gather thoughts and ideas. And yeah, the one other thing I really like the point you made, Caleb, of what does the bias look like? Because if there is another traditional thinking, and I think what a lot of the coaches will tell their commissioners is we want buys because you want another week for your team to get healthy, right? But is there something worth starting up an extra week, and being in that gear, even if you're not as full strength, coming in against a team that might be a little, still getting off the bed a little bit and had some time to rest? We will start to get, I think, more definitive data about if that's worth it or not, which is good to know. And then we'll move to 16, so we'll have to redo the whole experiment. It's like watching a bad 5th grade science fair experiment and wondering why the results make no sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this sport.
That's just where we're at.
I will say too, I guess I'll expose how much of a casual I am. I think I watched 3 Indiana games all season, probably 4. Illinois game, Penn State game, like the end of it, and then Ohio State and Oregon. Those are the
What,
four.
you didn't watch them against Maryland
Exactly.
when they won by
yeah,
50?
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
What about
against
Purdue?
school
You
they
didn't
beat by
watch-
50?
You didn't
Yeah.
watch the Purdue
Exactly.
game? When they
So,
played Indiana State, maybe?
so
Penn
like
State battle against the Sycamores? Come on.
their physicality that you brought up, Jerry, was very evident to me in the Big Ten championship.
No, I think they had 5 sacks against Ohio State.
Yeah, that was insane. So I think physicality is like one of the main ingredients of doing well in the college football playoff is having that. We're gonna beat the crap out of you. And I was so surprised with Indiana's physicality. And like we said, Ohio State's not their number one thing you think about them is not physicality. But I think that was really impressive. And then Ohio State, Miami, I am not really that surprised by the spread because if like Alabama can beat Oklahoma by 10, then Ohio State can probably beat Miami by 10.
I just think for me though, it's the way Indiana played against Ohio State, getting 5 sacks, and Miami has much better pass rushers on the edge. That both their star pass rushers on the edge are probably top 15 picks in the NFL draft. So I think that's what's going to be interesting going into that game is Julian Sand going to have enough time to throw to those great wide receivers? He may be getting, lit up because it does feel like when Miami needs it is when they make plays. Notre Dame game, they needed it, they made plays. A&M, they needed it, they made plays. Pittsburgh game, they needed it, they made plays. So it'll be interesting to see if them needing it be able to get plays. All right, we'll move on to the NFL. The Steelers are choking this game away against the Packers, which would get the Bears into the playoffs.
Aaron Rodgers not helping the Chicago Bears. That's never been a subplot in this NFL.
Well, it's been the kicker and now the defense. That is, there was a missed field goal, which would have put them up by 8. Now the defense is penalty after penalty after penalty, and the Lions are driving with 45 seconds left inside the red zone, 2nd and 10. So we did have some NFL games that were not on Sunday, which I would say pretty entertaining. For 2 of them were very entertaining. The Seahawks beating the Rams in overtime, going for 2. Coming back, I thought the game was over, and then Rashid Shaheed, which his parents naming him that is difficult. Trying to say it fast, gets a kick return and brings it back. And Sam Darnold, this guy, everybody's putting him out. He sucks in these big games. Kirk Cousins, and look at him. He's number 1 right now in the NFC.
You want to talk about a ref game? How about that 2-point conversion? I mean, like, we're talking about ref shows.
Craziest 2-point conversion I've ever seen in my life.
Like that was one of those moments I think defined the game really well. It was just weird. Like, and every once in a while, it's okay to just have weird football, even on a Thursday night. The NFC, this just reminds me that the NFC is just that damn good.
Yeah.
Which, as a Bears fan,
Lions
just sucks. Of course. But like, yeah, as a Bears fan, this game is a reminder of like, dude, we're having a dream season. This is amazing. I was smiling all last night, following, which we'll talk about, Bears Packers. But then you turn around 3 days beforehand, and you're like, oh my God, here are 2 teams. One looks like they're dead in the water. They come back against another elite team. And it's also a low-key big-time rivalry game, too. And I don't think it gets so much of the hype it deserves.
For the West Coast, it's a big game.
Yeah, like, exactly. This is a good big-time West Coast game, not just this year, but every year. So I want to give it that little bit of a love. But, like, yeah, the NFC is just insane. Like, sometimes it's just okay to make simple takes. This is one of them. NFC has a lot of good football teams. This Thursday night game proved that.
Yeah, I love the Sam Darnold shout. And I mean, this is going to go into, but like, this is the problem with throwing guys in and being like, you're the franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Not every dude that's good at football, really good at being an NFL quarterback, is able to just come in and be a franchise quarterback. Sam Darnold has been written off numerous times, and it's really cool to see him to have this kind of opportunity to really show how good he is. Because I was deep on TikTok, and I got a Sam Darnold edit of like, like a sky cam view. Yeah. Dude, he has like Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford level of insane throws.
No,
like,
his arm talent it's been
crazy.
like, it was like that when he's at USC. Like, he can throw the football.
He throws lasers, dude. So it was really cool. I was not familiar with how much of a baller he was. Eagles beat a bad team in not so convincing fashion, especially with the first half. We play them again in 2 weeks. We'll see if we even start anyone against them. but I would like to fight for the higher seed, but we have to see how everything pans out. And yeah, the Bears, Bears game. One of my. I'll let you guys talk about it. That might have been
Go
one of
ahead,
my
Caleb.
favorite games of
Well,
the season.
I mean, look, I watching the game, it was like same old Bears Packers where everything goes right for them no matter what happens. It's like we've been down how many times, 14 15 points, and Aaron Rodgers just snaps back and wins on the last second play of 70-yard pass to fucking Randall Cobb to win. I mean, that's happened millions of times. Jordan Love gets hurt. Howie Long, out of all people, saying that was a dirty hit from us. Howie Long, mind you, a Raider. Howie Long, defensive end. Look up Howie Long's career highlights. All of them are murders now in the NFL if he played today. And so for us to have Malik Willis come in and he just like starts dominant, he looks like Steve Young out there. And then we just keep clawing back, little by little. We keep coming back. Caleb Williams, who is the most hated quarterback in the NFL, I'd say by people, don't jump on the bandwagon now. You're not allowed on the train.
I still think that's JJ McCarthy, but I like you.
Wait,
it
what
was
is
coming into this
What is
year,
happening?
I like you feeding into the narrative there of like.
Well, people hated him, Jerry. Everybody's like, "Oh, he sucks. Shouldn't have been the first overall pick." Jaden Daniels, Drake.
Did you say Lions scored?
They did, and then it was taken back by pass interference.
Oh
Don't worry, we're
God.
giving live updates, Trev. We got you here. It was OPI,
I'm
then it was
sorry,
a false start.
Oh,
and
Lions
then-
dropped it in the end zone. It'll be 4th and goal with 6 seconds left.
Jesus Christ.
I was
So-
like, turn the game off because you said they scored.
Well, they did, and then it was PI.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I mean, look, Caleb Williams, that throw on 4th down was amazing.
Amazing.
We get before that, we get the onside kick, which they're like, oh, onside kicks are like 3%. And to Jerry's point before we start, Romeo Doubs, who murders us every game. I mean, murders us.
Caught the touchdown pass, right?
Caught the touchdown pass. Gets hurt on the play that he messed up on, which I think is always hilarious in sports. It's, I got hurt on a play that I screwed up on. I think the lines were stopped, but there's a flag on the play. See, I'm trying to talk about this game and
Here, do you want me to pick
players
this up here while you, and then you give us an update? I got
Yes,
you.
you
And then
do.
I'll let you go. Okay. So, yeah, I think let's go back to the Romeo Doubs point. Romeo Doubs absolutely decides to, during this game, still be very good. This whole Packers defense and team looked very good. And then we decide, what I think was most interesting about this Bears game was it wasn't like the Bears did everything perfect either to come back.
No.
You talk about the 2-minute, like before the 2-minute field goal.
Yeah. We have to score before the 2-minute warning, and we just lollygag our asses onto the field.
And kick the ball in after, and then spark the 2-minute warning. That takes away a stop because we had burned a timeout earlier in the second half. That is the most Bearsian thing ever, which is, okay, you need to score before the 2-minute to then give yourself the extra stop in case you don't get the onside kick. What usually happens to the Bears is they do that where either you miss the kick. It's like, all right, that was all for naught. Which again, putting our faith in Cairo Santos is bringing me back so many terrible memories of bad years of us trusting kickers to do things that aren't Robbie Gould. But we go here and I'm like, oh my God, this is how we do this again. And then the onside kick is recovered. That's its own level of crazy. This is a team that did not score all game, decides to score by passing to the guy who caught the preseason winner against the Chiefs. That's the last time I've seen Walker on the field for the Bears.
His first 2 catches in his career
for this week. Yes. Including one to get the tie. Santos hits the field goal. And then in overtime, the Packers are still moving the ball. In what usually happens in these games is on like a 4th and 1 there with Malik Willis, they get the first down, they trot down the score, then the Bears maybe trot down a little bit, then throw a stupid pick and game over.
Yes.
Or even trot down, get near field goal range, go for field goal, miss. For Malik Willis to fumble on 4th and 1 was very reminiscent of the vibes of the Commanders game where Jaden Daniels, and I forget who was his running back at that game, just absolutely botched the handoff and everything and fumble that game away. Sometimes you call it luck, sometimes you call it good. This has been a dream season. I think in the fact that right now, as Caleb continues to monitor, he'll give us a live update as we get it. We're monitoring the Lions game to see if we're in the playoffs right now. If you would have told me, Trevor, that at week 16, me and Caleb would be on a podcast talking about the Bears possibly clinching a playoff spot right now, I would tell you you're wrong. I might drive all the way up to Michigan and hit you to even get my hopes up that level.
The Bears are in the playoffs. Pass interference on the Lions' final play. It took them forever to figure it out, but
Thank God, because we still have San Francisco and Detroit, and those are
thank
not easy games.
God. Oh, I thought I was like, oh, maybe there's a chance we still don't make it. And then today, during the pregame shows, they're like, hey, if the Lions lose, Bears are in the playoffs. I'm like, I need the Lions to lose so badly.
And
they did
again, the person we had to rely on to do that was Aaron Rodgers.
It wasn't him. It was Jalen Warren.
But
that
still,
guy broke away like 5 50-yarders.
The quarterback for the starting team to put the Bears in the playoffs for the first time in years, to do it, the team that needed to win was freaking Aaron Rodgers. This is a very weird, cathartic year. Even with all the fun we've had, and I will tell you, Saturday felt like a weight off the shoulders a little bit with how the game ended, how the Bears scored the improbable long touchdown against the Packers. I thought DJ Moore actually died there for a second. If it tells you how disheartened I am by this team at times, I saw DJ Moore make this catch. I saw him lay out flat, and I didn't think it was a celebration. I thought he was hurt. That was my initial reaction. I was like, oh my God, we just killed DJ Moore, and it's an incomplete pass. Like, I thought he was like stone cold knocked out. Instead, it's a touchdown catch. Like, that's not what happens here. Again, though, the last time we had these vibes, 2018. So guard's always up. I'm like the bad ex-girlfriend that would never tell you about their lives because I've been hurt by so many different people.
It feels a little different though, Jerry.
It felt a little different under Mitchell too. It's okay. But this team's fun. I think what is this year specifically with the Bears, and even in 2018 team felt more like a normal Bears team of like really good defense, and offense was just like Khalil Mack. There's a bunch of big turnovers every game. This year's Bears are so weird because they're offensive driven. Their defense down to down sucks.
But they get turnovers.
Exactly. It's not even bend, don't break. It's bend. Oh my God. We snapped it all the way around and hit you in the face. It's very improbable, stupid turnovers. Sorry to bring this one up, Trevor. We found a way to get a fumble on a tush push like that. Like that's no one else has figured that one out. Somehow we have or when another chance for the Packers to score in the red zone, we get another fumble very similar to that tush push fumble, or just rip the ball out. Right. And it's been improbable pieces who've done it all year. This is a very cathartic, fun team. And I think they represent the city and what Bears fans are really well too. Shout out DJ Ferris, where Tremaine Edwards and some of the guys will go. It's Chicago. If you know, you know. But that's like one of those like small things. The Wiener Circle bets, where if Ben Johnson takes off his shirt, people get free hot dogs. If you go to the Wiener Circle, just be prepared. That's all I can say. Right. But like, there's all these little things that are going on within the city as well that are being really embodied by this Bears team that I have not felt by Bears teams in past years, even like that 2018 team. And I think that's what's making this run that much more fun. The Bulls are still bad. The Cubs choked. Good. The Blackhawks are The Blackhawks are fun, but they're and the White Sox are now buying players, but still have been historically terrible. So like, this is now you have a really perfect storm of bad sports. Then the Bears are winning. And then, of course, they're going to move to South Bend because that's how this goes.
Of course, Jerry. Of course,
yeah.
I said New Buffalo. I think that'd be great.
Well, this is the most Bears thing ever, is that ahead of the biggest game of the year at your home stadium. I get it. Soldier Field this, Soldier Field that. I don't care. I don't really feel like litigating this right now. But you have one of the biggest games in Bears football in this decade, I think is fair to say.
No, it's fair.
And the main topic of discussion is if the Bears are moving, which is still botched. This is how the organization runs. And this team kind of feels like they're doing that in like playing well in spite of the stupidity of like a Kevin Warren or the McCaskies. So shout out Ben Johnson, all this. This has been a fun year. And the fact that now we can officially say the Bears are in the playoffs is insane. Again, if you would have told me this to start the year, I would have told you were lying.
Yeah, no, we're in the playoffs with 2 weeks left in the season.
And we had two of the toughest games. I think we had the hardest 3-game schedule in the NFL. I'm not even just being like hyperbolic.
No, we did.
Left. And we now don't have to overtly stress about making said playoffs. Now we're worried about seeding. What?
What? We're
Trevor, how does this feel?
What are you supposed to do if we have a home playoff game? I mean, that's
what do you do in this situation? Like, how do you approach this?
You raise your expectations way too high, and whenever they kind of go up below them, you freak out.
Yeah. I'm glad to be on that territory.
No, it doesn't happen this year. It doesn't
I was
happen
gonna
this
say,
year.
I was saying,
It'll be next
wait.
year.
My
It'll be
expectation
next
was
year.
6 wins. How did I go to
No.
12? Like,
No, yeah, next year you'll have really high
yeah,
expectations.
that's like a little bit of take and double it right now.
Yeah,
vibes.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I
This is
think
weird.
I think too. The thing about the Bears is one, their their defense is. I think the Bears defense is really good. Two, they have an innovative offensive coordinator who is one of the best in the league at playing or calling offensive plays. And three, they have Caleb Williams, who is a gunslinger. And
Yeah.
gunslingers are only good if they're good at being a gunslinger. Gunslingers are terrible. They are the worst thing that you could have if they are bad at it. Not a lot of people can do it. Mahomes is a gunslinger. Brett Favre, Matthew Stafford. These guys go to make big throws, big plays, and if they have any inaccuracy, it's a terrible, terrible thing to watch. But when you have a guy who can in year two consistently make big throws, it elevates you over so many people because there are so many quarterbacks that we would say, hey, this guy's top 10, hey, this guy's top 5, and they can't do that. I think the Bears are rolling. I told Caleb earlier, God forbid the Eagles and Bears have to play each other in the playoffs. But if the Eagles lose before the Bears, I will be cheering on the Bears for the remainder of the postseason.
I still haven't opened up Take-a-thon. I'm not opening up Take-a-thon until mid-January.
No, I mean, look, here's the thing is I love this Bears team. There's something about it that I do love. Where it is different from 2018 is that team was defensive led, and yeah, they got turnovers, but they were also a dominant defense.
Mm-hmm.
And the offense was just kind of like, okay, like, they had some schemes that made it look good and whatever. But like, we didn't have Mitchell Trubisky throwing bombs to win games like we have.
Or a running attack that is just legit.
Well, that is true too. I mean,
And
we had like a zone read that like everybody was spread out, nobody was in the box. We'd get like 20 yards. But yeah, I mean, look, this is smash mouth football where we're coming down there, shoving it down your throat. I'll say it again, Joe Tooney may be one of the more valuable players in NFL history. Everywhere that guy goes, he wins. People can call me crazy for that because he's a left guard, but look at his track record: Super Bowl, maybe in Chicago, Super Bowl. We're in the playoffs. It's just different. It feels different. Ben Johnson is, I don't know. It's just crazy. It's like he's everything that he was like hyped up to be, though. Everybody's like, he's the best coach. Everybody wanted him. The Bears finally got their guy. The first 2 weeks, it's like, I hate football. I never want to watch it again. And now I'm like right back in it. And now we're in the playoffs. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Creepy Photo says, how far can the Bears go? Caleb, what you saying with Jerry? Please enlighten me. I think the biggest thing with the Bears is, and this is a cop-out answer, is I want to see them play the next 2 weeks. Now with like you're in the playoffs and like, how do you continue to fight? And it's not just the Packers. I mean, last night's game was like they wanted to get back at the Packers. When they got the ball back in overtime after that turnover, they wanted to take a shot to win that game, that play. So it'll be interesting to see against 49ers where you go on the road to play the 49ers where we should have 2 extra days off from the 49ers because they play Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
We played Saturday night, so we should have like an extra day off. So that'll be interesting. But I think it's just like, I'm going to continue to say what I've said all year. I'm just like along for the ride, and I'm just happy to be where we're at right now.
It's fun. This is, this is the type of team. And what sucks about it is that this feeling is very one season only because no matter what the Bears do from this point, again, it's all gravy. But next year you come in, you go, you did this. Now you have to maybe not be the same, but you have to be in that level. But it's trying my best to, I think, as both me personally as a fan, but I think for a lot of Bears fans, it's just fun to have a team that is fun, the team that does this. And like, how cool it is to have, you have arguably the best running back of all time in your history books. And then you turn around, you have 2 running backs that are fantastic. One that I think Walter Payton smiles on. You think that when Kyle Monangai makes some of those runs and he just hits people, he runs like he's not afraid of anything. I know Walter Payton smiled about that, right? Like there's certain things about this team that are fun. And also, I think one of the things I've seen a lot is like, the Bears beat the Packers, backup QB, this and that. Fair, not arguing that.
I don't care.
1, don't care. 2, Bears are missing 2 of their best wide receivers in both Luther Burden and Rome Odunze, who Rome Odunze's had been in between here and there. Luther Burden's got a bigger role in this team each and every week. And that's not me just being a Mizzou fan hyping up my
He's
Mizzou
so
guy.
good. He's going to be a dominant player.
But like the thing about it, but guys like Zacchaeus, who's very hit or miss, Walker, who is just showing up, who was hanging in Caleb Williams' crib, I guess, for a little bit while he's finding an apartment or something. That's part of like those are the kind of moments that like I think make this team that much more fun. Is that this defense has not been at full strength all year. I don't know if it ever will be with
No,
all the
Kyler
weird-
Gordon is yet to like really play consistently.
You know, Jaquan Brisker is kind of here and there. But like then Sean Wright shows up and all these other guys. Like it's felt very ragtag. You don't know how long this lasts. It's enjoying the moment. And this is a team that all the vibes are good. And again, we're talking about a playoff seed 2 weeks away from the playoffs. That doesn't happen out here often. God, it's fun. But there's a lot of things that had to happen to have the Bears be here. And it included games and results from this week.
No, I mean, it feels good.
I think too, it's like the Bears have beaten some teams that maybe going in they didn't expect, or people didn't expect them to be. They're beating teams that are good. And so like Caleb, kind of what you said, these next 2 weeks, I really would like to see the Bears. The 49ers are good; they're 10-4, and the Lions are not the Lions of last year, but still,
But they're still fighting,
right? And a team that beat the Bears pretty handedly at the beginning of the season. So it'd be nice to get back at them for that too. So I was just
we lost Trevor forever.
Oh,
Trev.
oh hello,
He's back.
What-
He's alive.
where did I stop talking?
After the Lions.
Okay, I would like to see them. I don't know.
On TV, we call that a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Yeah. I will say this too before we move on to the rest of the NFL is I was telling Trevor this before we started the show. Sometimes you have to take advantage of your window. I'm not saying that this is like Bears go to the Super Bowl, but you have to take advantage of the chance that you have in front of you. And the Bears so far this season have been able to do that. It'll be interesting to see can they continue on that. All right, moving on the rest of the NFL. We had the late
Jaguars
games
are the hottest team in the AFC.
Yeah, the Jags beat the Broncos. The Panthers also beating the Bucks. I mean, this is Trevor Lawrence is like played the last 2 weeks like we expected Trevor Lawrence to play when he was at Clemson.
Yep.
The team I'm eyeing out of this is the Chargers because they still have an out here to the end of the AFC West, which I thought was all for certain. Like this is one of those weird NFL years in a good way. The Panthers, big win there too for the NFC. That was a team I was going to get ready to put all my hatred and anger at. You know what? We can play about the G5 in the college football playoff. The winner of the Bucks and Panthers game right now has a playoff spot, mind you. There you go. So I don't want to hear about it. But the Panthers, a team that's historically been terrible, all these things, they're having a really fun year. Bryce Young is starting to figure it out. They're having moments that are very good. The Jaguars, how many jokes have been made about the Jaguars, right? They come out and, dude, this feels like for weeks I've just been quietly like, are the Broncos really that good? I have no clue. I don't think they're that good. And then of all teams, the Jaguars, the team I don't know if it's good or not, just like we're better than you. And they beat them. Yeah, like beat them, not just won the game. Like Steelers, Lions, the Steelers won the game. The Jaguars beat the Broncos. We also got the team with this in mind. We don't have the Chiefs to worry about anymore this year in the playoffs. Which also your graphics wrong there. Didn't the Titans win this game?
They did. My bad on that.
Yeah,
one.
no. See, that's just
so used to it. I'm just so used to it, Jared.
And the reason I make this point, not just to call out Caleb, is that the AFC this year is going to look a lot different with not having Mahomes there. It's what makes Sunday night obviously very, very interesting. You have a Baltimore team that is fighting for a playoff spot versus the possible team that could just sweep in and fill the Chiefs void, which America would low-key hate, but it's the most likable quarterback in the NFL, and Drake May. Very weird times to have a likable Patriots quarterback. But then I look at a team like Buffalo that had to hang on, like was kind of winning this whole game, but it got closer and closer and closer. Like this is the year where a lot of those discussions and talks are going to really ramp up about guys that are not Patrick Mahomes in the AFC. And then I look at some of the results of it and I go like, what is going on here? And also I'm still confused about Minnesota. I don't know what to feel about JJ McCarthy. I watched him on Sunday Night Football, look like a good quarterback. I get it. It was Dallas and Dallas's defense. Basically, I could complete an 8-yard out route against Dallas's defense right now. I get it. But like JJ McCarthy looked fantastic in that game, started figuring it out. Against the Giants, who are also not that good, but kind of good defensively, struggled. I'm so confused there. And I care about that because you want to talk about a team that could just out of nowhere be good again next year. It is Minnesota in Minneapolis, Minnesota. If JJ McCarthy just figures it out, he just needs to be Sam Darnold, which the sentence 5 years ago, you go, what? Really? Now you're like, oh, so he needs to be borderline MVP caliber quarterback. Like that's also the weirdness of this. And I'm just glad there's some games you don't have to worry about. We don't have to talk about Atlanta Cardinals. That doesn't matter. We don't have to talk about Texas Raiders. Doesn't really matter. Raiders still suck. Like, I don't even care who won in the Cardinals game. But yeah, a lot of weird results.
The Falcons won, Jerry. Of course.
Sure.
Why wouldn't you care? Come on. You got to care.
It doesn't Atlanta not even have their first round pick?
Yeah, that's very true. That goes to the Rams.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah, the rich get richer, and then the 44-year-old Phillip Rivers plays on Monday night.
Dude, we thought we had the young battle when it was earlier. Wait, are you telling me that LA and the Colts are playing at some point this year? The Rams and the Colts are playing?
I don't think so. I think the Colts.
That would have been the final.
Colts end with the Jaguars and the Texans.
I was saying if we ended with the Rams Colts. With Phillip Rivers, Matt Stafford. We thought we had the Young Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco. That had been the Grandpa Bowl. Like that's where we would have been at there. But it's sad that America will not. If Mike Pence had the courage to do the right thing, we could have the Grandpa Bowl. But it's okay. You can't win them all. But yeah, this is a good Sunday night game. I'm very excited about that. This one has a lot of stakes. This is the type of Sunday night game I feel like the last couple of weeks we haven't truly had, especially last week. Didn't feel like it, but it's there's a lot riding on this game. And it was a good slate leading up to it, but this game has a chance to be really electric.
Yeah, both teams need it. I mean, the Patriots now are wow, we could maybe get the 1 seed in the AFC. So that's big, and the Ravens are just still fighting to be in it. So look, it's coming down to the nitty-gritty here. There's still playoff spots to be had. Especially the NFC, the AFC. Teams that we thought coming into the year had a chance to make it to the Super Bowl, maybe not even making the playoffs. I think is the crazy thing that we're kind of at. And of course, the Bears are in the Super Bowl. Not, but we're in the playoffs.
You're in the playoffs, baby. Good, better, best.
You never let it rest, Jerry. Never let it rest.
So it gets better.
The cheese graters going around the city, amazing. I love that.
That's been awesome. Just unrelated note, that rivalry finally feels like a rivalry again. I'm very happy about that.
Caleb Williams is 2-2 against the Packers. That's
4 good games, really 3. The first Caleb Williams game was kind of last year, but that last one of last year for Virginia McCaskey. Then turn around this year, you had the great game that you were at Lambeau. Yeah, I don't need to explain that one to you. And then we turn around here at Soldier Field and have an absolute thriller.
That doesn't matter after beating them last night and then making it.
But it's just fun. There. It's fun to have this hatred. Like LaFleur and Ben Johnson barely do a handshake and leave. It's all those little things make this season again also feel more fun. The fact that we kind of hate the Lions again and we're not oh man, look at us at the bottom, dap up, and we talk about how we hate insert Packers quarterback. It's that we're no, screw you guys. That's fun. I still like the Lions. It's kind of like a brotherhood in pain. But that's what has made it this year fun is that we can go back to hating teams because it means something when we play football.
I mean,
I'm so sad.
It's just it's been a ride. It's been a ride, and thankfully it's not over yet. I think is what's great. But yeah, look, we're getting down to the best time of the year, playoffs in the NFL. Christmas is this week, which is crazy to think. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a fun ride. I'm just still baffled the Bears made the playoffs.
You guys are 2 gifts to me. That's all.
That's right back at you, Gerald.
Yeah, there you go. See, I need to say something cute because I don't know when we're going to be on here after Christmas because everyone's schedule gets weird. So you guys have been great. There's been one gift, but Caleb and Trevor, you guys are 2 true gifts to me.
Oh my gosh!
This whole show, everybody that watches, it's all a gift to me. I'm just so thankful. and grateful.
Yeah, me too.
for
This is where
everything.
someone start crying. Trevor, cue the tears.
Yeah, come on.
Leave Brittany alone. It might be dated. It might be a dated reference. That's the only thing I could think of.
What's John's up? Top 5 Christmas song?
Wait, so my top 5 or give a song
Or
that's
just
in the top
one?
5?
Little Saint Nick by the Beach Boys.
That's a great one. That is a great one. That's probably top 3.
Last Christmas by Wham.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm a sucker for Mariah Carey, and All I Want for Christmas. I'm
Yeah.
a sucker for that one.
You got to throw a Michael Bublé in there.
Yeah, he's the king of Christmas. He's
Yes,
the
he
king
is.
of Christmas.
You know what? Just to never mind.
What were you gonna say?
Okay, I'll say this is a joke. Not the song, but what I'm gonna say before it. Just to piss off all the libs. That was my joke. That Frank Sinatra song that everyone got really mad at. Baby, it's cold outside.
Yeah, Baby, It's Cold
yeah.
Outside. Of
go.
course, that's a classic.
Trevor thinks Die Hard's a Christmas movie. It's okay, we get it.
The one that
No.
the one that's always
Big
funny
tree
to
guy over
me.
there.
The one that's always funny to me as a Christmas song is Bruce Springsteen's.
Yeah.
Because it's just like he's just like Bruce. He's like, oh yeah, he's coming. Are you guys ready for Christmas?
Yeah.
Like it's just like the
That
most
was a
Bruce
cash
Spring-
grab. That was
It's
a
just
cash
the most
grab.
Bruce Springsteen thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. There's a
You
lot of
better
good ones.
watch out. It's like
the Christmas has like the number one, but maybe besides the 4th of July. 4th of July has got some heaters, just this patriotic songs.
yeah. that's true.
But Christmas music is unbelievable. Like
I
there's like
put Christmas music above. I think the vibe of Christmas music goes longer than 4th of July.
yes, I agree.
4th of July is kind of like a 1 week. Like it's great.
It's the 4th of July.
Yeah, on 4th of July. I think 4th of July songs hit harder on 4th of July than Christmas songs hit on Christmas.
Agreed.
I think Christmas season music and like Christmas music during the Christmas season
Yes.
is better because I'm not in the middle of June listening to like,
Right.
pick whatever super patriotic song you want to throw here.
Yeah.
That like I'm not like
Red, White, and Blue by Toby Keith.
Yeah, I have played that before.
I mean,
there
that's just your wife's answer, Jonathan. That's
He's
just a
like
wife's answer.
showing his age with that.
Yeah.
one.
Best Christmas song, Dick in a Box. You're welcome. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a
Gift
lot
that
of-
keeps on.
there's a lot of good ones. So, yeah, I think we named off some pretty good ones. In Sync though is
That's awesome. We love it. Thanks,
that
Uncle.
guy's he's showing his age right there.
He
Yeah,
is.
it's pretty old. But no, I mean, look, I think it'll be it's going to be a good Christmas. We're getting down to football being good in the NFL. We have 2 good games this week remaining. I hope you guys all have a good Christmas. I hope everybody watching has a good Christmas. We will try. I don't know if we'll do a mid show. This
Yeah.
week.
I probably will not be available. for
So
that.
we will probably not do that. So we'll probably all be back Sunday, maybe if it works
Yep.
out. We'll have to figure that out. But
We'll
yeah,
talk
I
about
mean,
the NBA. NBA used to be.
yeah,
Christmas
the
Day.
NBA Cup happened. The Knicks won that one.
Well,
Watch
you
out.
you used to watch the NBA on Christmas before the NFL took over.
That is
Oh.
very true. It doesn't feel the same anymore. I remember it was like it felt like, whoa, this is like when NBA season starts, and now it's like
You
no.
need the Christmas jerseys. I think that's the big thing
That's
that's
true.
missing. You give me the old Christmas jerseys, like the Bulls ones, when
or
they're
the
playing Lakers.
commercials.
Oh man,
Give me the old school NBA on Christmas Day commercials. I mean,
Dude,
come
the
on.
jingle bells with the
that
threes.
was the best one.
Perfect.
And then the Wednesday after this Wednesday is also New Year's Eve, so that might
Yeah,
be a
well-
tough one too.
Yeah, so we'll figure that all out.
yeah.
So yeah,
Uh,
but
Yeah.
So,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. If we don't do anything before New Year's, to all our folks here, please don't drink and drive. That's not me doing a PSA. I don't want to have to cover it because I'm working Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So, yeah, for my sanity, don't do that. Now for the altruistic reasons because I don't want to
Yeah.
work harder.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I
a
get
good
that.
reason.
that's a great reason. With that being said, everybody here on this show wishes everybody a very, very Merry Christmas.
Very Merry
And we will be back sometime soon, probably next Sunday, to break down all that's happening in the world of sports. We'll figure out what coach is doing who at what university. We're here for you. We're here. For you.
It's a Midwestern thing. So,
Yeah, the Midwest is, you know,
has anybody checked
Michigan,
in on Kirk Ferentz?
Ohio.
Oh no!
Please don't tell me that, man.
They're
Those Iowa
doing it
people,
again.
if that happened at Iowa, those Iowa people would feel they'd be like their part of their heart would be ripped out. It's
Yeah.
like their grandfather did that. Is what the feeling.
Wait, an old man doing something problematic in a football program? Oh, yeah, just cancel the show. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry
Yeah.
Christmas.
As always, thanks for watching.
Peace.